CarPlay is finally officially here on all Tesla vehicles. Yes, full Apple CarPlay and even Android Auto can be put on your Tesla right now. No, this is not clickbait. This is not a joke. This is totally 100% real. And in this video, I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to do it. Let me show off the hardware you're going to need, run you through the entire setup process from beginning to end, show you how all the pieces come together to work, and also share some mistakes that I made when I did the setup process so you guys can sort of breeze right through it and unlock some brand new features on your Tesla that you've never had before. Also, huge thanks to RECURRENT for sponsoring this video. They're also going to help you unlock some whole new features on your Tesla with their totally free monthly battery report. It's super insightful, so much cool data inside of this thing. More on all that in a bit. Now, I've made a number of videos before this one talking all about the benefits of CarPlay on the Tesla and why it makes so much sense and all the features you get. It's going to give you more media options for streaming music, podcasts, audiobooks. It's going to give you third-party apps for mapping, for example, like Waze. And if you want just the stock Google Maps app, you can have that as well, or Apple Maps if you want to. It just unlocks this whole new level of features that you don't get stock with the Tesla. And don't get me wrong, I love the Tesla. I love the minimal UI. Over-the-air software updates are free and make the car better and better every few weeks, but I think that there is a place for CarPlay or Android Auto to sort of come in, fill in the gaps, and sort of strengthen some of Tesla's shortcomings and make things a whole lot better. Because right now you're limited to just a few apps for media. The built-in support for text messages is basically pretty abysmal. There's no virtual assistant support, stuff like that. This is where CarPlay and Android Auto can come in and make so much sense and really give you a better overall Tesla experience, mostly. And what we've heard through the grapevine of the rumor mill is that Tesla has no plans in the current time period, the near future, or ever to add support for CarPlay or Android Auto. Whether that's because they've got a feud with Apple, or it's just a lot of hoops to jump through to support it, or if they just think their software is superior, or they're going to launch their own app store, whatever the case may be, you're probably not going to get native CarPlay or Android Auto support on your Tesla directly from Tesla themselves. And there have been ways to sort of hack this together and workarounds. You could buy a whole separate tablet and run CarPlay on that. You could buy one of those little screens that is sort of installed in your dash and sort of looks like it's stock, but not really stock. It's sort of a third party, sometimes kind of a janky thing. Or you could use something like the Tesla Mirror app, which I've shown off before, which is nice, but there's no touchscreen support, and it basically just mirrors whatever's on your phone. There's not really a nice car-friendly UI to navigate with, and those have all been sort of temporary solutions, while this here, it's the real deal. And let me be clear that this is not a perfect solution. This is very much a Gen 1 first sort of alpha build here, but it's pretty much a no compromise solution. You've got the full interface here, not a watered down version, not a mirror of your phone. The touchscreen totally works. It's fully functional in drive and in park, and it also does not require you tearing out your dashboard to install a whole separate screen or having to mess with any of the circuits or any of the components under the hood of the Tesla. This is just a much simpler solution that's all done wirelessly, and basically, once you get all the components up and running, just sort of works. And I want to shout out the developer behind this very ambitious project for actually making this happen and sort of making the impossible seemingly possible, and also releasing this as a free open source project so you can sort of make improvements, you can check out the code and see how it's done. It's all over my head, but I can confirm that this works way better than any other implementation that I've tested. And the best part, again, is that it all streams wirelessly to your Tesla. Now, the way this whole project works is actually similar to a type of project I've shown off before, and that is basically using an Android sort of subsystem as the hub, the base, and then tricking it into accepting an Apple CarPlay signal from an iPhone. You can buy these special dongles and use them to give you CarPlay on Android. Whether it's wired or wireless, it's going to work on Android tablets or phones. And in this case, we're basically sending the signal from that Android device wirelessly with full-on touch capabilities over to the Tesla through the web browser built into the car. It's a really cool project. It works really well. And again, this is going to allow you to run Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and really any Android app because the subsystem is basically just sort of like a dummy Android phone. So if you want to get in here and tinker with it, you can and build out your own custom thing. But in this case, let me show you exactly how to add CarPlay to your Tesla. Now, I will leave a link below to the official setup guide that includes the hardware requirements here, all the documentation, sort of a setup process that walks you through everything step by step. So definitely check out that and refer to it down below. And also, I should mention that when I'm recording this video, at the time of recording, I'm going off of the current guide available. So the parts required may change, the number of components may change. I know the developer is looking to move this from a 2-board system to a 1-board system. So definitely check down below in the description for all the parts that are current at the time you're watching this video. But as I'm recording it, this is the setup process as it's documented, and these are the parts you're going to need. The most important part of the whole build, of course, is obviously the computer, and in this alpha build, we're going to need 2 Raspberry Pi mini computers to run this whole thing. One is going to be running Android, and one is going to be running Linux. Now, the developer recommends that at least one of these boards is a Raspberry Pi 4 model with at least 4 gigs of RAM, and due to supply constraints and sort of what I could conjure up on Amazon, I went with 2 Raspberry Pi 4 boards, one with 4 gigs of RAM and one with 8 gigs of RAM, because just out of curiosity, I thought, why not? This is what I could get my hands on soonest, and also just to see if that extra 4 gigs of RAM made a difference or not. The next thing you'll need is this Geekworm HDMI adapter. This is sort of like a capture card, if you know what that is for the PC or Mac, but it is for the Raspberry Pi specifically. So it's going to accept the output of the Android board as an input on this Raspberry Pi number 2, and then is going to broadcast that over Wi-Fi to the browser on your Tesla. Also, to get this all set up, you're going to need a couple of USB-C cables to connect the Raspberry Pis to your computer. You're going to need a micro SD card to load the software on the Raspberry Pi, so you're going to need 2 of those. You're going to need a USB keyboard, a USB mouse, a micro HDMI to HDMI cable, and a short Ethernet cable to connect the 2 ports together. 2 other pieces of gear here that are very important that you're going to need. One is the CarPlay dongle that's going to make this magic happen, either wired or wirelessly, and a USB LTE modem. The way this project is working is that, for one, you're going to need to have an active internet connection to load this page the first time, and I think multiple times too, though it's, I think, really most taxing the first time. And also, the way the Tesla works to connect to Wi-Fi, it's very, very picky, and it needs an active internet connection in order to connect to a wireless network, which I don't think technically is required for it, and most other devices don't need to have an internet connection on the other side to connect to Wi-Fi, but the Tesla does, so you're going to need a USB LTE modem. I picked up this one from Alcatel, it's USB, I got it off of eBay for like 20 bucks, and it only works, or I guess it's recommended to work with T-Mobile here in the US, so I went on the T-Mobile website and I got the cheapest prepaid plan I could, which is, I think it was 10 bucks for 2 gigs of data and like $20 to do the setup. So all in with this, you're like 50 bucks in, but you don't need a crazy high-speed data plan or even a large data cap. Just whatever the cheapest is, as long as it sort of works with the USB modem you've got, should be good, and we'll be good to go. Again, I will leave a link to all the parts down below in the description so you can check out different options for yourself and see what's in stock, what's out of stock. But once you've got everything, you've got all the parts you need, you're ready to do the install. Now, the installation guide is really well written, so I'm not going to go step by step through every little thing, but I will show you some of the important stuff and sort of where I got tripped up along the way when I was sort of going through the process, so you guys don't make the same mistakes that I did. Also, I'm doing this on Mac OS, so I'm going to show you how things work on the Mac side, though things will be pretty much the same, though maybe slightly different on Windows and Linux, so definitely check out the install guide for all the details for the various different OSs. First things first, you're going to want to start by downloading the latest build of this project from GitHub. You then want to insert one of the 2 little SD cards into your computer and use an app listed in the dock to write the image of the specified sort of operating system to the card. I used Raspberry Pi Imager on the Mac, and it was super easy. You just choose that you want to load a custom file, then choose that custom file, which is this custom version of Android here to start, choose the source, which is the micro SD card, click write, and in a few seconds, it's done and you're ready to move on. The next thing you'll want to do is, if you have it already, install ADB and Fastboot on your machine. Now, on macOS, you're going to want to install the Android platform tools linked down below, and then once that's installed and unzipped, you want to drag and drop the folder of those different subfolders into a terminal window to change your Active Directory so this folder and these tools are accessible so you can actually execute these commands from here. Very important that you do this. Next up, put the flashed SD card into the slot underneath the Raspberry Pi and connect a display, a mouse, a USB-C cable to your computer, and go ahead and power it up. Once it's on and connected to your computer, you're going to want to go to the terminal window and start from the beginning and run through your list of commands step by step, not missing any, just going exactly how it's written on the website. But one important note here that drove me nuts that I took myself way too long to figure out was that on macOS, you need to type a dot and a / before you type fastboot or ADB. And all the commands after that are going to be the same. But again, you've got to type that dot and / before the command so it actually executes correctly, because if you don't, you're just going to be sitting and looking at this terminal window for way too long, scratching your head. Now, before we continue with unlocking CarPlay on your Tesla, I want to take a quick break and tell you guys how you can unlock a whole new level of features and a whole new level of insights with the battery inside of your Tesla, and really any EV for that matter. And that, of course, is thanks to this video's awesome sponsor, a company that I love, and that, of course, is RECURRENT. Now, if you haven't heard of RECURRENT before, let me introduce you to an amazing company aiming to give you easy access to essential battery insights so you can know and better understand arguably the most important part of your EV, and that, of course, is the battery. And one of my favorite RECURRENT features is this totally free monthly battery report that unlocks this whole new level of data about your EV's battery and your charging habits. It's private, it's safe, it's secure, and also just takes a couple of simple clicks to sign up. And as of right now, it's only available in the US. At the top here, I can see 90 data points were automatically collected by RECURRENT over the month of April. I drove an average of 34 miles per day, which is surprisingly more than the fleet average. My Tesla's battery charge ranged from 16% all the way up to 84%, and the temperature fluctuated by over 50 degrees, of course, as it always does in good old Southern California. And this will be my first summer with the Model Y, and I'm curious to see how the battery is going to be affected by the notorious SoCal heat. Also, if you're in an area of the US where the temperature is about to change drastically for the summer, now is the perfect time to sign up for this totally free monthly battery report so you can keep tabs on how your range and battery are affected by the dramatic shift in temperature. And below here with range insights, I can see my Model Y's battery is still looking really good. 330 miles of max range on a full charge, and I can see that sort of very slightly changes based on the weather, but not too much. And also to the right here, I can see a map of exactly how that range calculates the actual distance around me and where I can drive on a full 100% charge. And this is where we start to see the average state of charge in my car changed. Now, the average charge observed was 54%, and to the right, I can see all of the different observations RECURRENT automatically collected. And if we compare this month's report to last month, or even look at the beginning of April versus the end of April, we can definitely tell that something changed. And that is actually that I moved and lost access to my faster 240 volt home charger, leaving me just with the option of trickle charging my car with just a regular 120 volt plug, which is why my battery's sort of observed charge was way less consistent. This move still keeps me in the target zone, but you can really see the sort of decline and ascension as the battery slowly sort of loses charge, then comes back up as it sort of trickle charges its way back up. Next up, with historical insights, I can see some data on my car, including the manufacturing date, the age of the battery, and the battery warranty remaining. And luckily, I can see my range is still right in line with other vehicles in the RECURRENT fleet. And last but not least, of course, we've got market insights where I can see the estimated value of a 2022 Model Y is $76,000, up 2% from last month, and it just keeps trending up. So if you guys want to check out this RECURRENT monthly battery report for yourself today, just hit the link right down below to get started. Again, it is totally 100% free. It's super easy to sign up and get started. Just takes a couple of simple clicks. I love how the report's laid out. It's really beautifully done. I love these graphs, love the visuals. And also I love that there are sort of actionable sort of takeaways here that you can see from the data on how you can better sort of adjust your charging or adjust other parts of your EV battery to sort of prolong its life and minimize degradation. I just love it. I love the way it's laid out. I love what RECURRENT's doing. And they've got a lot of awesome stuff they're doing. So if you guys want to learn more about RECURRENT and check out this totally free monthly battery report for yourself today and sign up, which I recommend you do, hit the link right down below to learn more and check it out for yourself today. Once you get Android loaded up, you'll need to run through some of the basic initial prompts to get this thing set up. And what you'll notice is that it basically sets up like it's one big phone or tablet. And then once you see this screen, you're going to want to grab a special number in Terminal and paste it into your Google account. Again, the setup process is going to walk you through exactly what to do, but make sure you register this device's unique ID with Google so it's sort of seen as legit, the handshake happens, and you can be good to install other official Android apps from the Play Store. Once you've got that all done, reboot the Raspberry Pi, and the hard part is over. You're actually almost done. Almost. Next up, grab Raspberry Pi number 2 and connect the HDMI to the display. You need a keyboard, a mouse, and your connection to your computer, which is also going to supply power. Before you power it up though, grab the latest image of the special Linux build for this Raspberry Pi, pop in your SD card to your computer, and again, use your tool of choice like Raspberry Pi Imager to load this image on this SD card the exact same way you did the first one just a few minutes ago. Now is also the time you want to get your USB LTE stick ready to go and activated. And if you've got this one from North America, you just want to pop off the back, pop in, I think it's a nano SIM, not a micro SIM, I think it's a nano SIM that goes in there, and then plug it into a computer and give it a few minutes. My T-Mobile prepaid SIM didn't need any intervention to activate on my part. It just took about 3 to 4 minutes, and then I got an email from T-Mobile that said, hey, it was active, the connection was good, and it was good to go. I could actually load internet pages, and it was good. I think the speeds were like 2 megabits per second, which wasn't great, but it's going to be plenty for this project. Next up, you want to use that short Ethernet cable to connect the two boards together so they can network and talk to each other. Very important that you do that. This is also the time you want to install that Geekworm HDMI adapter on the second Raspberry Pi. Now, it's hard for me to explain how to do this, so I'll leave a video on screen and down below that you can check out, but basically, you just open this little latch, you put the copper part in, you tighten it and close it, and it's good to go. It's really easy, no tools required, but it's just sort of harder for me to explain, so just watch the video, you'll understand. And then once that's installed, you're going to want to take the output of board number 1, that HDMI cable, and plug it into the Geekworm as the source for Raspberry Pi number 2. Next, put that micro SD card in the bottom of Raspberry Pi number 2 and boot it up. Again, you're just going to run through the setup instructions in the guide online, which are very straightforward, and just follow them to a T, run every command. It's going to be super simple, and this one just takes a few minutes to get all up and running. Now you just got to connect your computer to the Tesla Android Wi-Fi network you just set up and fire up your browser of choice and go to 3.3.3.1/admin. And if you see this page, you are good. You are in the very final home stretch and you are almost done. All you've got to do now is add an IP reservation for the Tesla Android box to keep it the same even after reboots, and then you're gonna be good to go. Now, before you take it down to your car, here's the moment of truth. Once everything reboots, again, go to your browser and load up 3.3.3.1, and if you see the Android splash screen, or better yet, sort of the Android home screen, you're good to go, and you have successfully done it. You are a wizard now, you've hacked this together, and you are about to get CarPlay inside of your Tesla. And again, this is full-blown Android. You can install apps, you can browse the web. It's the full-blown Android experience, which is really cool. It also enables the magic, the final piece to this puzzle, and that is CarPlay. Now, you want to plug in your CarPlay adapter to this Android box, and then you want to launch the included AutoKit app that's already installed on your Raspberry Pi. To sort of swipe up from the bottom or drag up from the bottom, you should see the AutoKit app, launch that, and you'll be good. If you're like me, you might be prompted to update the dongle, so if you see that, go ahead and do it. It should take a few minutes, and it should be good to go after that. Just sort of takes a few minutes to sort of do its thing and run those updates. After this is working, go ahead and read through the final parts of the documentation because there are some settings you can tweak. You can sort of overclock the boards and some different settings you can change inside of the sort of AutoKit CarPlay adapter here that you definitely should to give you a better experience. I'm not going to run through all of them here, but just check out the documentation. A couple of simple settings to change to give you the best experience possible inside of your Tesla. Also, a little pro tip here, if your phone is not being detected from the adapter initially, try plugging it in with a lightning cable and then unplugging the adapter and replugging it back in a couple of times. It took me like 2 or 3 times of unplugging and plugging it back in for it to work. It finally went from like plug in your device to like, oh, it's connecting. And then once it makes that initial connection, as long as you enable it, you can also do wireless CarPlay too, which is really cool. But just it takes a couple of plugs and unplugs to get it going. But once it seems to catch it the first time, you should be good and CarPlay should basically always work. But eventually, once the system catches up, boom, there you go. There is full-blown CarPlay ready to go in your Tesla. You can sort of check this out. You can confirm it's working. You can sort of run through the different prompts here and sort of just make sure everything's good. But once you know it's good and it's working, it's time to move this whole system to your Tesla and finally experience CarPlay inside of your Tesla. Now, you definitely don't want to be like me and just sort of have these things dangling anywhere in the car. So definitely invest in proper casings and coolings and stuff like that. But just for testing purposes here, I just plugged both boards in sort of bare into the front 2 USB-C ports in my Model Y center console just to get power and make sure everything was going to work out okay. And I didn't have any issues. The boards booted up just fine. And after about 30 to 45 seconds or so, once everything is good and all the lights are on, now is sort of the easy part. You want to go up to the upper right and go to your list of available Wi-Fi networks. First off, make sure Wi-Fi is on, and then you want to connect to the Tesla Android Wi-Fi network, put in the password you set, and you should be good. Now, a couple of settings here you got to make sure you watch out for. One is you want to make sure you check this remain connected while driving icon, so that way when you switch from park to drive, it doesn't disconnect, because by default, your Tesla will sort of kick you off of Wi-Fi when you go on a drive, which is stupid. And if you're having issues getting your Tesla connected to Wi-Fi, a couple of things to note. One is that, again, the Tesla needs a proper internet connection to connect to the Wi-Fi network. So if that card, that USB LTE modem isn't working, if the signal is weaker, like in my case, it's super, super slow, you got to give it a few minutes to get that connection established to make sure you're good, and then the Tesla will connect to it. So if it's not working, make sure the USB LTE modem is powered on, make sure that it's not being blocked so it can catch a signal, and also if it's taking a while, it might just have a really, really slow connection, so just sort of keep that in mind. But again, you've got to have that so the car will actually connect to the Wi-Fi network. Stupid, but it's one of those weird Tesla quirks. And once that's connected, just go to the browser and load up 3.3.3.1, and once you load the page, there you go. That is full CarPlay on your Tesla, full touchscreen support, audio support over Bluetooth. Everything's just working now. All right, so apologies for the little bit of a janky camera setup here, but let me do my best to show you a quick demo of how CarPlay is going to work here on the Tesla. Of course, this is all being done wirelessly. I've connected the car to the Tesla Android Wi-Fi network. I've got my phone here that is running wireless CarPlay, and I'm using the phone is just connected to the Tesla over regular Bluetooth, and I've had that muted just right now just so it doesn't give me any copyright claims on songs, but let me show you exactly how this is going to work. So this is the full CarPlay interface, and unlike other solutions I've shown before, this is fully functional. So first off, the Tesla Mirror app, like I've shown off before, is very easy to get installed. It works a similar way, but it does not show the CarPlay interface. It just mirrors whatever's on your phone, so there is no interface. And also, it lacks any kind of touch support. Touch does not work. It's just a viewer. This obviously has full touch support, even has multi-touch support too, which is kind of cool. And I get basically the full audio experience and the video experience as well, the full CarPlay experience here on the Tesla. So I can do things like open the podcast app if I wanted to. I can load up the Apple Circle podcast, which is a fantastic podcast if I do say so myself. I've got full controls there to do that. I can, play, pause. I mean, if you've seen CarPlay before, this is the full, real interface. It's the real deal. Also, I should mention this is being done wirelessly. This phone is on a wireless charger, but it's not connected by any cable, so you can do wired or wireless depending on the dongle, which is pretty cool. I can also go ahead and jump into, I don't want to jump into phone because that'll show me personal info. I don't want to jump into maps because that would also show me personal info. But if I want to go to, Spotify, for example, I could go down here, I can load it up, and everything is good to go. I can start playing a song. Again, I've muted it just because of copyright stuff here, but you can see everything's good. I mean, there's a couple of little glitches here. Like you can see the interface here is a little weird. That I don't think is the Tesla Android project. I think that's more just CarPlay or AutoKit rather, and this implementation, just because it's not meant for this sort of resolution and stuff. But that is not the issue of this project. That is something else. I also know there are a couple of quirks right now with mapping apps. There's some issues with audio, but the developer is working on that. But the interface is fully functional. Anything you'd want to do inside of CarPlay on another car, you can do here inside of CarPlay here in the web browser. Again, audiobooks, podcasts, this is all going to work. I've got, full touch support here. I can jump between tabs. I can go to podcasts. I mean, what you want to do here is, be able to have access to third-party media apps, and this is going to do it. I'll load up Waze in a minute and show you that, just because if I load it now, it's going to show my address, so I'm not going to do that. But just to sort of show you here, everything is working really well. I can jump in here to settings, or not my calendar. I can jump into settings, and I can change CarPlay stuff. I want to change the appearance. Let's say, okay, I want to change it to automatic mode, or I want to go in here and change the wallpaper, for example. If I want to change it to, I don't know, let's say, this, just to show you that it works, like the way that looks. Boom, hit set, and we are good. So just so you can kind of see, this is fully functional, and it works just as you would expect. So some have been quick to point out the limitations of this sort of implementation and if there's any issues. I mean, some have pointed out the speed, but CarPlay on its own is not the fastest UI I've ever seen. My wife has a Volkswagen Tiguan sitting to my right, and it runs CarPlay natively, and it's not the snappiest implementation. I've also had it on my Honda Civic for a few years, my older car, and I know CarPlay well, and it's just not super fast. Yes, you are going to get some inherent lag here just because you're sort of in the browser, and this is all being done wirelessly, but I'll tell you that when I hit play, things play. There's not a huge amount of lag with anything else. I mean, there's not really any touch. There's a little bit of touch lag, but again, this is sort of the best implementation I've seen, and it's sort of being done as this huge workaround of the browser, but it is working. If you wanted to have Apple Music, for example, and you want to be able to, play your music from Apple Music, this is the way to do it. If you want Audible as well, you're like, hey, I want to listen to my audiobooks, this is the way to do it and have full control. I mean, it's really nice being able to have this sort of thing without having to just be restricted just to Bluetooth. If you want an interface, if you want to have text message support, is a big one for me. One of the things I've loved is having full message support in Messages and Telegram. I use a lot for work. Having that has been wonderful, and it's just been really nice to sort of have the full experience here on CarPlay. So obviously, like I said, it's a workaround, so it's not going to be running as fast as it natively would be, but also CarPlay on its own isn't the fastest UI ever. So I don't think it's, laggy. It works really well while driving, and, if you want to, get in there and while you're driving and tap around and navigate things, this is going to be just perfect for that. If I just do one more demo here, here's news. Want to open that up, hit that. We're playing. I want to, jump back into settings, for example, just to show you that everything's working as you'd expect. It is. And I have all the CarPlay magic here right inside of the Tesla, which is really, really cool to see. Let me do one last demo here and just show you how maps work. So just for those of you who are curious, yes, I've got fully functional Waze here, and I can see, all of the Waze features here work just like that. Look at that. Look at some bad traffic there in Southern California, as you'd expect. Just to show you that, yes, Waze does work, and Google Maps and Apple Maps, all that, you can sort of use what you want. Like I said, there is some issue with the audio streaming. I know the developer has some stuff noted in the installation guide that there's some issues with audio from navigation, so they're working on that. But the app is fully functional. I can get directions. The other day, I got turn-by-turn directions in Waze, and it worked just fine. I could enter in addresses that I want to go to. All the Waze creature comforts you'd want are right here inside of the app. I can even go in here and I can zoom out. You've got the full UI here and the app accessible here inside of the implementation. And again, like I mentioned before, this is all just running off of Android. So I'm able to bring my finger down here and I can go to that button there. This is it. This is your basic Android home screen. And if you wanted to install other apps, you could get in here. I mean, if I wanted to load up the Play Store, I could. Just to show you, this is basically just Android. It's just sort of using Android as a base layer to run CarPlay or Android Auto, and that is sort of the base of what's being done. And again, all being run in the browser. And then to load back up what's it called? The CarPlay as I turn on the air. Love that. Sorry, Tesla. I just load up AutoKit, and I am good to go. So that's just a really quick demo of CarPlay. I'll be doing some more testing soon, but just to show you guys how it works once you get it all installed, it's just sort of plug and play. Once you do all the hard work on the Raspberry Pis and you put it in the car, you just connect to the Wi-Fi, you enter the address, and you go. You are good to go. And again, fully functional while you drive as well. All right, guys, and that is it. That is how to get full CarPlay or Android Auto directly inside of your Tesla. I should also mention that this works with the 3, the Y, the S, and the X. It should work with all Tesla models. And the developer says that he is working to sort of, it seems like rapidly, making improvements all the time. So be sure to check out the link below to see all the developments and all the improvements and all the hardware you'll need. But hopefully I was able to help you guys. If you guys run into any issues with the install process, let me know down below. I will do my best to help you out. I am not a developer, but hopefully I can point you in the right direction, and hopefully we can all sort of troubleshoot and help together, be the collaborative mind to help you guys fix any issues if you happen to run into any as you do this process. And yeah, let me know down below. Did you do the process? Did you get CarPlay in your Tesla? How's it working for you? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you dislike it? Let me know if you guys did this and what your thoughts are down below. And I'll do some follow-up videos on how this works, some more longer-term reviews, some more little hidden features here and all that stuff. But I just wanted to get this out as soon as I could because it's so cool. And I know many of you guys have been waiting for this for months, if not years. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed. As always, I appreciate you watching, so thank you very much. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see you all in the next one.